U.S. Airways Flight 1549 takes off from LaGuardia Airport. And they're only a couple of minutes into the flight. They're on their ascent. They make it to 2,818 feet off the ground, not very far off the ground at all, when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, came a flock of Canadian geese. And, you know, Canadian geese are huge. These aren't pigeons. And they run right through, they fly right through the flock of Canadian geese, and both engines fail at less than 3,000 feet above the ground. There's 150 passengers on board plus 5 crew, so there's 155 people on board. Unprecedented, never happened before in history, that an airplane that big would lose both engines that low to the ground. And you watch Sully, Captain Sullenberger, and his first officer, Jeffrey Skiles, in the cockpit, and they're just as calm as can be. As a matter of fact, you can actually go on YouTube and pull up, to this day, you can still pull up the actual ATC transaction of the actual event and listen to the calm in the cockpit. And they start going through their emergency checklist. Seconds goes by, probably seem like an eternity to them. They realize that they don't have any thrust at all. Sully says, we need to go turn back to LaGuardia. He gets in touch with ATC. Emergency, both engines out. We're heading back to LaGuardia. Just as calm as could be. ATC comes on. Well, do you need an emergency landing? Yes, heading back to LaGuardia, emergency landing. We're not going to make it. Okay, how about Teterboro? Can you make it to Teterboro? Okay, what are my options at Teterboro? And they line them up for a runway. They give them a runway option. Get in touch with Teterboro, emergency landing on runway 1. We're not going to make it. Okay, runway such and such, Teterboro. We're going in the Hudson. Just like that, calm as could be, we're going to be in the Hudson. And then he stopped talking to ATC, and he's so focused in on landing this plane. Never in history before has an airliner that large with 155 people on board landed in the water, and everyone survived. Yet it happened that day, January 15th, 2009. And it was because he had flown over 40 years. He had almost 20,000 flight hours of experience. And in an interview afterwards, he was asked, how confident were you that you were able to land, that you were going to land that plane safely on the Hudson? He says, I was 100% confident I can do it. His competency was so high. He knew the airplane so well. He was 100% confident that he can do it. Competency, the greater it is in your life, the more confident you're going to be.